Okay, good morning, students. Sorry, good afternoon. We have 17 of
Good
them.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. 17 of them have joined. So we'll wait for another 2 minutes and we'll get started. Okay, I hope you have received the email ID on which you have to send the banking assignments. Okay, so please send it uh, in different files. Okay, there should be only one mail from each student, but each assignment should be in separate files. So I guess I have given 3 assignments so far, so there will be 3 files that you're going to attach to the same mail. Okay. Okay, guys, 21 of them have joined, so I'll just start with the class. Okay, I'll just share the screen now. Okay, yes. Just confirm if you can see the screen. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Okay. So let's start with what we had left. If you remember, we yesterday in the class we started with primary market organizations, activities and procedures. Like what are the procedures that are followed in a primary market? Okay, when it comes to issue management. Okay, so first is the eligibility norms. So you have to adhere to the eligibility norms if you want to issue the shares to the general public. Then you go for the pricing of the issue. Now pricing of the issue can be done using differential pricing or using a price band or and denomination of securities. Okay, then we studied what is promoters contribution. So if you remember, 20% of the post issue capital should be contributed by the promoters. Then we also spoke about issue advertisements. Okay, why the issue has to be advertised, so that you get more subscription. How it is to be advertised, maybe it is through pamphlets, through television ads, through radios, or any mode of advertisement is used. Okay, then we went on to do the book building. Okay, so what is book building, how it is done. Okay, all these things we did. Then we also studied green shoe option. Okay, that is the excess issue of excess shares. Okay, over and above the issued share. Okay, that is what green shoe option is. And then was Indian depository receipt. So I remember that during when I was discussing this Indian depository receipt, the meeting ended. So I'll just start with Indian depository receipt again. Okay, so to make it more clear, okay, just give me 1 minute. So I was talking about Indian depository receipt. Now, what is this Indian depository receipt is basically, okay. Suppose there is a foreign company, okay, who is incorporated outside India, okay, and they want to issue the shares of their company in Indian stock markets, okay. Now they cannot do it directly. They cannot issue shares of their company in the Indian stock markets, okay. It's not possible. It's not allowed, okay. So what do? Okay, they deposit their shares into the depositories. Now there are lots of depositories. We have NSDL and we have CSDL in India who acts as depositories. Okay, we will be dealing with depositories in the next chapters. Okay, what are depositories and what is NSDL, CSDL? Basically, uh, right now you need to just understand that these are the parties, or these are the intermediaries where all the shares are deposited, not in a physical form, but through in the e-form. Okay, all the shares go to those depositories from the company, and from the depositories it goes to the demat accounts of different investors, and vice versa. Okay, so that is depositories. Okay, so what do these foreign companies do? Okay, they basically deposit their shares. Okay, their shares in the stock market. Okay, and hello, am I audible, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so they deposit their shares in the stock market, in the depositories. Okay, and the depository will issue something called as a depository receipt. Now, this depository receipt, okay, can be purchased by any investors. Now, when the deposit when you want to buy the shares of that company, you cannot buy it physically directly, but you can buy the depository receipt of that particular company. Suppose Apple, as I had taken an example, let's say Apple wants to issue shares in Indian market. So what does it do? Apple will deposit some of its shares to the in the into the depository, and the depositories will issue depository receipts, okay, in in turn of those shares that were deposited. Okay, and these depository receipts can be purchased by investors in India. Okay, so that is how they can collect capital from Indian stock markets. So that is what IDRs are, or Indian depository receipts are. Similarly, we have the global depository receipts, we have American depository receipts, and so on. Okay, so that is how these depository receipts work. Okay, so I hope you're clear with this concept of depository receipts. Any doubts in understanding the depository receipts? Anyone? If it is clear, please give a thumbs up so that I can continue with the next part, guys. Okay, great. Okay, so after this depository receipt, then comes your EIPO. Now, IPO is basically your initial public offering. Okay, nowadays IPO does not happen physically. Okay, it happens on the online portals itself. Like you apply, you get the invitations online, you apply it online, you apply for it online, and the allotments and refunds are also done online. Okay, so that is why it is called as EIPO, electronic IPO now. Okay, so what do we do here? Basically, agreement for AC, okay, that is the stock exchange, agreement with the stock exchange, then appointment of the broker, appointment of brokers, registrars, listing, lead managers, mode of operations. Mode of operations here would be electronic form. Okay, so that is what is done in an EIPO. Okay, then comes your preferential issues. Now, what is this preferential issues? Anyone? Any idea about what is preferential issues? Anyone? Any idea about preferential issues?
So is it issue of preference shares?
Uh, Not really. Okay. I cannot say wrong also, but it's not exactly
The
only.
issue to the preferred people, the
Very
people
good.
who are
Yes.
preferred first.
Perfect. Perfect. Yes. That is what preferential issues is. Okay. That is issue of securities. Now, when I talk about securities, it may be shares, it may be debentures, it may be convertible debentures, it may be preference shares, which are issued to certain parties. Okay, selected or private parties, then it is called as preferential issues. So private placements is one of the form of preferential issues itself. Okay, so here we have pricing, then currency of financial instruments, and so on and so forth. So lots of functions that we perform under the preferential issue. So what is preferential issue? Basically, it is issue of shares to selected parties. Okay, issue of shares to the selected, sorry, issue of shares to selected parties is called as preferential issues. Okay, so clear with this? Okay, then in between, I just missed this part, that is issue by designated financial institution. Okay, now issue by designated financial institutions here means, okay, these are the institutions who have the right to issue shares. Okay, or sometimes basically you issue shares only to specific people. Okay, the specific financial institutions, they are called as specified or designated financial institutions. So basically you issue shares to these particular designated financial institution, okay, and then they in turn issue your shares to the general public. Okay, so that is what you issue by designated financial institution talks about. Okay, next comes your qualified institutional placements. Okay, as I said, preferential issue. So qualified institutional placement is again a part of private placements where the shares are issued to specific financial institutions. Okay, here they are not issued to general public or individuals. Here it is issued to specified financial institutions or specific financial institution. That is what is called as qualified institutional placements. Okay, so then comes your OTCEI. OTCEI is nothing but over the counter exchange of India. Okay, over the counter exchange means this happens physically. Okay, where the shares are exchanged on a physical platform. Okay, that is why it is called as OTCE, where the shares are bought and sold on the counter itself. Okay, where the bidding happens on the counter there itself and the shares are exchanged. That is what OTCE is. So OTCE issue is over the counter exchange of India, where you need to adhere to the eligibility norms, pricing norms, and the projections. Then comes your last, that is issue and listing of debt securities regulation act. So you have to adhere to this debt security regulation act of 2008 when you are issuing debt securities. Debt securities is nothing but debentures and bonds. Okay, so that is another activity that you have to undergo when you want to go for an issue management. Okay, that is issue and listing of debt securities regulation 2008. Okay, so issue requirements of public issues, then listing of debt securities, then conditions for continuous listing, obligations, actions in case of violations and of the regulations, etc. So you have to adhere to all these regulations under the debt securities regulations 2008. Okay, when you want to issue debt instruments. Debt instruments are debentures and bonds. Okay, so these are the various activities that you have to undergo when you want to issue shares to the general public or when you want to go for a public issue. Okay, so I hope you're clear with all these points, starting from the eligibility norms to the adhering to the debt securities regulations of 2008 for issue of debt instruments. Is there any doubt with any of these points? You feel free to ask those doubts, please. Okay, I'll wait here for 2 minutes and then we'll continue with the next part.
Sir, that OTCEI, it exists now also, or it's just
Yes,
outdated, sir?
for some cases it does. Okay, most of the things it's not there now. Okay, but in some of the cases it still exists.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. But I hope you're clear with what is this OTCE.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anything else, guys?
So where does the over-the-counter exchange activities happen, sir? Like exactly where do they happen?
It happens in the stock exchanges itself. Suppose
Yes,
it
sir.
is BSE, it is NSE. Okay, it happens on the stock exchange itself.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now initially if you understand, okay, I'll just go discuss more about OTCEI itself. Okay, initially if you understand, okay, it used to happen physically. Okay, now in OTCE also there are electronic platforms where you can buy and sell the shares. Okay, but that is a separate exchange in itself. Okay, OTC is a separate exchange, it's in itself, where nowadays, okay, the exchanges happen electronically itself. You need not go physically to the exchanges and do it. Okay, initially yes, we had to go to the exchanges physically, buy the shares, sell the shares. There were physical instruments which were handled. Okay, and the physical instruments had to be transferred from one person to another person. Now that does not happen. Now it happens electronically. Rashmi and Narayan, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and to go some more points. Okay, these counters majorly are used by small and medium enterprises who do not have access to the larger capital markets. Okay, so those enterprises make use of OTCEI basically. Okay, so there are lots of things that you can study about OTCEI. Okay, so basically it's a over the counter exchange of India. Nowadays it is done electronically, and only majorly small and medium firms who do not have access to the larger capital markets go for OTC issue, or issue of shares through over the counter exchange of India. So are you clear with all these points that we have discussed? If it is clear, please give a thumbs up. If no, then please ask. I'll be very happy to answer your questions. Or should I ask you questions? Aryan, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Aryan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, good. Now, can you tell me what is this pricing of issues?
Hello, sir.
What is pricing of issues?
Price. Hello, sir.
Huh?
Sir, your voice is not coming, sir.
Aryan, I have asked you a question. What is pricing of issues? Now, is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good. So, answer my question.
So,
Please, guys, please pay attention when I'm discussing anything. And if you have not understood it, please ask. Okay, yesterday we discussed about what is pricing of issue, what is differential pricing, like a different price for different people, what is a price band, that is the minimum price and the maximum price that they quote. Okay, just to give you some more instances here. Okay, the minimum price that is quoted is called as the floor price. Okay, floor, zameen. Okay, floor price. And the maximum price that is quoted is called as the cap price, cap. Okay, so please remember
So,
these words because these are very important. Okay, the minimum
so,
price that is quoted, suppose the uh, price band is between 34 to 40, let's say, then 34 becomes your floor price and 40 becomes your cap price. Okay, so I hope everybody is clear with this particular part. Okay,
so,
yes.
so maximum is also called as a cutoff price, right?
See, whenever you talk about issue and whenever you talk about the price band, okay, cutoff comes later. Okay, if you're talking about trading and then later, that is cutoff price. Okay, hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so right, basically when you're issuing it, we have two things. We have the floor price and the cap price. Okay,
Excuse me, sir.
yes, any other person, any other
Excuse me,
doubts?
sir. Say yes. Hello.
No. Okay, fine. So let's go move ahead with the next part. Now we are going to
So can
classify.
you learn,
Yeah, Gautami, tell me.
as you said, preferential offer. There's a point, sir, the non-transferability of once it is issued, it's not transferred only to the selected group.
Gautami, I'm unable to hear you properly.
So preferential offer.
Preferential issues.
Yes, sir. So
Huh.
once it is offered to the selected persons or group, there is a point, sir, non-transferability of financial instruments
Right. It's not,
transferred
not,
as
yeah. So whenever these instruments are issued to specified people, they are non-transferable. The shares cannot be transferred to some other person on the wish and will of the person who has got the issue. They cannot transfer it to any other person. It has to be given back to the company itself. That is non-transferability.
okay, sir.
Gautami, I hope that was your doubt.
Yes, sir. So that's what I wanted to. So I thought there will be some lock-in period for
No,
that,
no, no.
but
There's
then
no
as you're
lock-in
saying that
period
it
here.
cannot be transferred, so
No,
the
you
company has
basically
to
cannot
buy back
transfer
the
it.
shares
They are
in the last.
they are non-transferable instruments only now. When it is
Okay.
issued to
So the
specified
company.
preference, when it is done through preferential issues, they become non-transferable.
Okay, sir.
Okay, and, so should I go ahead with the next part? Okay, so the next one is, now we are going to classify the issue. Now we know what is issue, okay, issuing of shares. Okay, now we are going to classify the various activities into pre-issue management and post-issue management. So you have to remember these points that I'm going to discuss in the next slide. Okay, pre-issue is basically before the issue of the shares to the subscribers. What are the various activities that you do? And after the shares are been issued to the subscribers, what are the various activities that you need to do? Okay, that is called as pre-issue management and post-issue management. So let's go on. Okay, so the first one, if you see, the first column is all about pre-issue obligations, then it is post-issue obligations, then other issue requirements and operational guidelines and miscellaneous. Okay, so let's first move on to, first let's understand pre-issue obligations. Okay, what are the various things that you need to do uh, for pre-issue? Okay, first one is due diligence. Can somebody tell me what is due diligence? What is due diligence? Anyone, guys? Due diligence? Heard about this word, due diligence? Anyone? Anyone give it a try, guys? Due diligence?
Sir, to avoid any frauds or offense in the organization.
No. No. What is due diligence?
Examinations of the records of the companies
Yes.
to
So
review, to audit.
yes, detailed examination is due diligence. Okay. So the lead manager or the merchant banker has to check the requirements, check the details in basically in detail. Okay, check all the information in detail before going for the issue. Okay, so all the documents, all the requirements, all the obligations, all the rules and regulations have to be properly adhered to, and that is the responsibility of the lead manager or the merchant banker to to investigate in detail the various documents involved in the issue process. Okay, so that is the first step, that is detailed investigation. Second one is the requisite fees. So the requisite fees which are required, the lead manager should pay the requisite fees in accordance with the various regulations that are framed for SEBI merchant bankers. Okay, so they have to pay the registration fees. Okay, next comes your submission of documents. So whatever documents are required, like memorandum of association, then due diligence certificate. Okay, there are then we have the undertaking, list of promoters group, appointment of intermediaries like merchant bankers, other intermediaries. All these things have to be submitted. Okay, submission of documents should be done. Okay, then after submission of documents, then you actually appoint the intermediaries. Now intermediaries are your merchant bankers, okay, underwriters, okay, there may be brokers to the issue, so on and so forth. So all these intermediaries have to be appointed. After the document submission is done, appointment of intermediaries come. Okay, then is underwriting. Now what is underwriting? Anyone? I have spoken about underwriting, so can anybody tell me what is this underwriting? Anyone, guys?
So any
Underwriting.
so any merchant banking institution or any other financial institution takes the responsibility of selling the shares to public, sir.
Perfect, perfect. That is what
And
underwriting
then
is.
they charge some fees for it.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so that is what underwriting talks about. Basically, the underwriters help the company in issuing the shares to the general public, in simple words, and for which they charge something called as an underwriting commission. Okay, then they come. Then it is offer documents are made public. Okay, so within a period of 15 days from the date of filing, okay, to the SEBI, the documents are filed with the SEBI. Okay, within 15 days, the offer documents have to be made public. Okay, so it should be accessible to the public to see the offer documents. Okay, then comes your pre-issue advertisements. Okay, I have already told you what is pre-issue advertisement. Like basically it helps you in promoting your issues and helps for getting more and more subscription. So you go for an uh, pre-issue advertisements. Now that advertisements can be done through any media, using a prospectus, using a brochure, using pamphlets, etc. You can do anything. Okay, so you can use any medium of advertisement. So that is what you do after the public documents, offer documents are made public. Then comes your advertisements. Okay, after advertisements you go for an IPO grading. Now IPO, what is grading? What do you mean by grading? GRADING?
It's a kind of rating.
Thinking.
Sorry.
It's a kind of rating.
Yes, yes.
Right? Rating or ranking, right? So you have to get your issue graded. Okay, if it is properly graded or rated. Okay, like let's say if you want to go for a debt issue. Okay, and when you say it is a rated or A plus or B plus. Okay, it gives confidence to the public to invest into your shares or into your debentures. Okay, so that is why grading is necessary. Okay, so IPO grading is done. Okay, then comes your dispatch of issue material. Now dispatch of issue material means your prospectus. Okay, so basically issue material, you have prospectus, you have the application form, subscription form, etc., etc. All these issue documents are dispatched. Now dispatched to whom? Dispatched to various brokers who are your intermediaries. Okay, so all these documents are dispatched to these intermediaries. They may be brokers, they may be merchant bankers, they may be specified bankers or financial institutions to whom these offer documents are dispatched. Okay, then comes your no complaint certificate. Okay, there is something called as a no complaint certificate which has to be submitted, and if there are any complaints, then these complaints have to be uh, taken care by the lead manager. Okay, so there is something called as a no complaint certificate which has to be issued. Then mandatory collection centers. Now for collection of the offer documents like subscription, when I suppose I am issuing shares to the public and they want to subscribe for it, they subscribe, they fill the form and they have to submit it somewhere. So there should be mandatory collection centers for submission of the forms along with the subscription money. Okay, so all these things now, most of the people go for online, but there are still a large lot of investors who go for offline subscription. So for them there should be collection centers. Okay, then authorized collection agents. So there are centers, there are agents also. There are specified centers as well as there are specified agents who collect those documents from the investors. Okay, then advertisements for rights post issue. Okay, now post issue, okay, there might be certain advertisements that have to be done for maybe rights issue. Okay, now rights issue, I have already told the existing shareholders will get a right to buy shares of the company. Okay, when they go for a follow up IPO. Okay, so That is what right issue is. So post issue there might be some rights issue, and for that an advertisement has to be given. So after the agents and all, you go for a post issue advertisement. Okay, post issue rights advertisements. Then appointment of compliance officer. Okay, now this is very important because the compliance officer makes sure that all the rules and regulations as per the SEBI, as per the Companies Act, as per the registrar of companies, all these rules and regulations are properly adhered to when the issue is been made. Okay, so that is very important. So then is an abridged prospectus. As I said, prospectus is sent. Okay, see, we are talking about pre-issue. Okay, the prospectus is sent to the investors, the prospect investors. All these prospectus is sent. Now what is a prospectus? Prospectus is an advertisement of the company about the issue, about the company, about the issue, and it has a subscription form also. Okay, then we have to do an agreement with the depositors. Okay, now depositories, as I said, there are two depositories, that is the NSDL and the CSDL. Okay, so we have to have an agreement with these depositories for the shares to be issued to the people. Like, we have to deposit the shares to the depositories, and the depositories will issue the shares to the investors. Okay, so there should be an agreement with the depositories. And branding of securities is again a part of advertisement, where you try to create a brand for the securities. Okay, and you try to attract more and more investors towards those securities that you are issuing. So this is what you need to go through when you want to go for a issue. Okay, so these are all the pre-issue obligations that you have to undergo before issuing the shares to the general public. Okay, so I'll just stop here for 2 minutes, go through all the points, and if there are any doubts in any of the points, please feel free to ask.
So,
Yes.
so how the IPO grading is done? Is it based on their fundamentals?
Sorry, I did not get you.
So how the IPO grading is done? Is it based on their fundamentals?
Aha, yes, definitely. It definitely is done on the fundamentals itself, because otherwise you cannot do it on any other thing. Okay, they have to check the company. See, when we talk about fundamentals also, it is not only the balance sheet and P&L account which has to be checked, but it is also the management of the company, the business of the company, the industry scenario, the company's scenario. Okay, who are the promoters, then what is the business, what are the products. Then comes your financial statements, whether it is income statement or your cash flow statements, and your P&L account and your balance sheet. So all these things are checked, and then the grading is done. Okay, see, now you might have heard about uh, Chrysler or ICRA. Have you heard about these companies, Rohit?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now these are the
Credit rating.
companies who give ratings to various companies. Okay, these are the institutions, specialized institutions or organizations who give ratings to various companies. Now when they give ratings, okay, they have a specified uh, procedure that they follow, which includes basically maximum percentage is a part of your fundamental studies. Okay, where you study the balance sheet, P&L account, income statements, about the company, the business that they are into, the industry they are into. Okay, about the management, the promoters, everything is studied, and everything has a particular weightage. So as per these weightages, a total score is calculated for that company, and on the basis of the total score you get a rating. Maybe you are A plus, A plus plus, B, B plus, and so on. Okay, so it's there are lots of factors that influence your rating, but majorly it is influenced by your fundamentals itself. Are you clear, Rohit?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So even industry PE is calculated.
Yes. So PE risk, what happens is, see, your shares are not issued at all. Okay, when do you calculate PE ratio? It's price earning ratio, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so are your shares already issued?
No.
No, so you don't have shares at all. Now you're going for a public issue, right? So you don't have shares at all. So how will you have a public? How will you have a PE ratio?
So, but industry ratio is 0.
I did not get you. Industry ratio means
So, like there are different ratios for company and for industry also.
right.
So they calculate the industry ratio first for
See,
PE.
industry in terms of growth is checked. Okay,
Okay, sir.
industry, how is the overall industry looks like, whether there is growth in the industry, whether it is a stagnant industry, or whether there is a decline in the industry. Okay, that is checked. Now for to check that, there are lots of tools, there are lots of formula or ratios, or there are lots of other tools which are used to understand what is the industry scenario. Like one among them might be Porter's 5 force model is also one of the important tools to judge the industry. Your GE metrics is one of the tool. Okay, so all these strategic management tools that you have studied so far can be basically implemented to check the industry scenario, how the industry is, whether the industry is good or bad.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and on the basis of the results of those analysis, then you come up with a score for it, and then you give ratings to it. So
Okay, sir.
are you all clear with this pre-issue obligations? What all things has to be done during the pre-issue or before the issue? Okay, fine. So let's move on. We are left with just 1 minute. Okay, I'll just complete this small part, that is post-issue obligation or requirements. Post-issue monitoring reports. Okay, I don't think I'll be able to complete. Okay, fine. Let me stop over here itself because I need to discuss these points. I cannot just quickly go through it. Okay, we are just left with less than a minute. So I'll stop the class over here. Okay, in the next class, we'll continue with the remaining part in pre-issue management. Okay, if there are any doubts still, you can ask, else I'll end the class. And please submit your assignments as soon as possible. By the end of this week, your assignment should come to me on the given email ID.
So when will take the HR assignment?
Sorry,
So HR assignment.
HR assignments I'll tell you in the HR class itself.
So you have told.
I'll discuss about that in the HR class. Okay.
So you had also told us to submit it before 4. So it has